It's me, I'm back. So, today's video, I decided to ask you people, well, the people that follow me on Instagram anyway, what your favorite horror movie is, and I decided I would judge you based off of your favorite horror movie. So, I'd be thinking, do I really have the right to judge people based on their favorite horror movies? And to that, I would say, absolutely. So, let's get right into it. Starting off with Aliens. Now, this movie. Judging someone based off this movie, I simply cannot judge you. This is a great movie. The only thing I could judge choosing Aliens as your favorite horror movie is the fact that Aliens itself isn't seen as much of a horror movie. It's more of an action movie compared to the first Alien movie, but it is the best Aliens movie, so I really feel like I cannot judge in a bad way. I can only judge in a good way, and you're right. Great movie. Cannot fault it. Movie is 10 out of 10. The next movie is Creep. They have specifically defined it as the blue cover and not the yellow one. I didn't even know there was another cover. What do we mean by this?
2 hours later.
Oh, so we're saying it's the blue cover. I, for some reason, thought that the original Underground movie was yellow. But anyway, 100% agree with this one. So far, I know it's only been 2, but so far these are really good movie choices and I can't fault them. But Creep is so underrated. I haven't actually ever watched the other Creep movie, the one about the guy, the serial killer guy or whatever, and he dressed up with a wolf mask. I've never actually seen it. I've heard really good things about it, but it's just never really appealed to me. I feel like it looks a bit too B-list, but I will check it out at some point. I promise I'll check it out. But this one, the one based on the London Underground, is absolutely incredible, and it was for sure a movie that put me off initially when I was a kid going through London Underground. I was a bit like, that guy is probably just chilling down there right now, being all weird and shit. Like, do we really want to deal with that? I feel like if you haven't seen this, you need to watch it. I'm actually shocked at how many people haven't seen this one. The movie has such a gritty feel to it, and that's what I love about it. It is definitely one that would put you off of going to the London Underground. If it wasn't for the fact that it's a London Underground, this definitely would put you off of it as well. I'm gonna rate this one a 9 out of 10. I get it. I understand. Yep. Perfect movie. I cannot fault that. You're right. You are absolutely right. This is the perfect slasher movie, in my eyes. It's the #1 perfect slasher. Halloween is up there, but Scream for me it's in its own world, in my eyes. It is just...
1 eternity later.
There is something about Scream. Ghostface is a killer. I love the entire franchise. Even the movies that aren't my favorite ones are still great movies and still rival so many slasher movies these days. So I have no choice but to rate this 10 out of 10. There is no judgment against you for this choice. It is the right choice. This one. Why do you all keep choosing good movies? Why? I feel like I can't be judgmental. Incredible movie. The best shark movie of all time. It's a movie that made people for years absolutely terrified to go and swim in the sea. It's without a doubt one of the most iconic movies ever made. It stands the test of time. The practical effects stand the test of time. 10 out of 10. Oh, so this movie, I have only just watched this movie and I have so much to say about it. I was so close to doing a review on it because I was absolutely taken back by how good this actually was. I'd already heard really good things about it, but sometimes I just feel as though people can be saying good things about it, but it's just because it's a bit different and it's a body horror, and I'm not that big on body horror. I love The Thing, I love The Fly, those are great movies, but I feel like it's difficult to make body horrors really good these days, or like be good without just being a bit too ridiculous. There's like ridiculous, and then there is a ridiculous, you know, there's a fine line between them, and I feel like not many body horrors can do this kind of thing anymore. But this, insane. I absolutely loved how they were able to do the first scene ending as the last scene, if that makes sense. If you've seen it, you'll understand what I mean. The way it's shot, immediately I knew I was gonna like it. I don't know if that's the correct way for me to judge the movie, but even like the first shot, it sold it for me. It completely sold it. Creature design for this at the end, oh my god, I could not with it. It was perfect. It was so funny. It was so good. I don't know. I'm not sure I can give it a 10. It's definitely up there. It's probably going to be like a 9.5 for me on this one. I am not too big on Rob Zombie movies. I'm sorry. I get shit for saying this, but I just don't think his movies are very good. He should have stuck to music. They don't do it. As soon as he touched Halloween, I was pissed. That was enough for me. And I know that people like the Halloween movies that he's done, but not for me. I would say his best movie that he's done that's been the least just like annoying to watch for me was House of Thousand Corpses. But even that's not. I'm sure there is some enjoyment in them. I just can't find it myself personally. I know I'm gonna get shit for saying this, but I feel like he's just overrated. I'm sorry. They're good enough to just watch like as the background thing, so I'll give him a 4. So this was a choice. I would love to know if this is legit or not, actually, because I am a bit concerned. At least it's not Serbian film. I'll give it a 5. I think that's being quite generous. I'll give it a 5. This as well. Great movie. Underrated as hell. I think this movie is so good. This is a great choice. Great movie. Very much lack of appreciation in my mind for this movie. With this movie being based off of a true story as well, it does add an extra layer of fear, I guess, behind it. It's one of those movies you watch and go, I am never going camping in the Australian outback ever in my life, actually. No thank you, fuck that. I've watched this movie loads of times because I genuinely love it. It's such a good movie. So this is going to be an 8 out of 10 for me. 8 out of 10. Sweet Jeffrey Goldblum. Great movie, genuinely a really good body horror. It has moments in it that do kind of make me a bit like, but all in all, it's a good movie. It's a very good movie. As I said before, body horrors are difficult to do without just being ridiculous. And this is definitely one of the better ones of it. So I would say this is a solid 7 out of 10 for me. Good movie. Good movie. So I'm only going to talk about the Fear Street trilogy because People Under Stairs I've only seen once, and it was a very long time ago, and I feel like it's not very fair for me to judge something that I haven't watched in years. Where do I begin with this? So I wanted these to be good. I really wanted to enjoy these, but there was something about them that just felt too Netflix movie for me. And I know that they are Netflix movies, but the way that they set this, the first one especially, they set it up so strong. They did the Scream trope by having the biggest name in the movie get killed off first, and I loved that. So I was like, this is a great start. But unfortunately, it just didn't do it for me. It peaked and then just kind of slowly just went, and it just got boring. It didn't do it for me. And then the other two, just once again, I watched them because I felt like I should, because I'd seen the first. Maybe the second one was better, you never know. Occasionally one of the movies is better than the other, then you might actually end up enjoying one of them. But I can't get behind them. I'm sorry. I'm not going to judge you harshly for liking these because they're fine, but that's really all they are to me, unfortunately. I'll give them a 6. I think that's fair. I think a 6 is fair for that. Pretty iconic. I can't fault this. It's a perfect movie. I've got it tattooed on my leg. Am I really gonna say it's not a good movie? It's a great movie. It's the perfect capture of someone going absolutely insane, and I am all for that. I think it's very entertaining. It's another movie that stands the test of time. Very well acted. I feel very terrible for Shelley Duvall. Like, I know that she went through absolute hell shooting that movie, but the result of the movie, absolutely incredible. It is one of the most iconic movies ever made, and everyone should see this movie. 10 out of 10. So I do love these movies. I think they're great. I feel as though the whole Conjuring Insidious universe are the only horror movies that have been made more of a recent time that are actually really good. I would say the first Insidious, the one that you've mentioned here, is the best one by far. I'm not too keen on the newer ones. The most recent one, was it The Red Door? But I can agree, the first movie is a very, very good movie. Definitely one of the best movies made of recent time when it comes to horror movies. So I'm going to give this a strong 8 out of 10. I think 8 out of 10. I get you on this one. This was a fucking creepy movie. Like, this had no business being that creepy. I remember watching that as a kid and thinking it was a horror movie, so I agree. For nostalgia purposes, I'm going to give it a 7. So I watched this more recently, I'd say within the past couple years. I had seen it a while before that, but I couldn't remember it, so I rewatched it a couple years ago. And this movie is really good. By no means would it be near my favourite movies, but it's a good movie. I do like the whole idea of it. I love the fact that she's just going around cutting people up for the fun of it, essentially, and getting paid for it. It's probably not one that I'll really go out of my way to watch again, though, unfortunately, but it's still good. I would give this a 7 out of 10. Such a good movie, honestly, so damn good. This movie is frustrating in the sense of the friend obviously being like, oh, let's go down this area, oopsie. This is genuinely such a good movie when it comes to jump scares. It's good for having a really good creepy atmosphere to it. If you ever have a friend that wants to explore caves, maybe make them watch this first, because chances are you're not going to want to do it. This is a great movie. It is easily 9 out of 10 for me. It's a perfect movie. I fucking love this movie. So good. A great alien movie. It's genuinely untouchable when it comes to body horror, in my opinion. This is the best body horror movie ever made. So this one, easily. I don't really have any judgment on this because it is just straight up a 10. It's a 10. So this movie, strangely enough, has been a favourite of mine ever since I was a child. I watched this with my dad when I think I was about 8 years old, and I love it so much. Doug Bradley as Pinhead, absolutely incredible. The creature design for the Cenobites, immaculate. Absolutely love it. The perfect amount of gore, the perfect amount of being dramatic as fuck as an 80s horror. I absolutely adore these movies. The first one is definitely the best one, but the rest get a lot of hate. They don't deserve that much hate because they still have some really cool deaths in them, but I do understand. The first one is the best one. 10 out of 10. Easily. 10 out of 10. I love it. So, did have some of the stereotypical answers. I had some of the Halloweens. I had the Friday the 13th franchise, Nightmare on Elm Street. These movies, I know that I did Scream, I know I did Hellraiser, but I was trying to steer away from the two obvious top horror movies. I wanted to go for something that maybe that people new to horror wouldn't have really more likely have seen yet. Genuinely speaking, I feel like my following on Instagram have pretty good taste when it comes to movies. I didn't really see any movie that I was necessarily like, absolutely not. Terrible choice. I had questionable ones, for sure. You know who you are. A lot of people from my Twitch chat chiming in on my streams being the scariest thing ever, so thank you for that. Genuinely speaking, all really good movies. Great taste, guys. I'm impressed. Well done. You've really outdone yourselves. You should be proud. I could go on and list my favourite movies, but the thing is, I yap and I don't have the time to edit out all of my yapping. All of my favourite movies are all tattooed on me. I would say the X franchise, Evil Dead, Scream, we already know this, Pet Sematary. There are so many movies. Candyman, rest in peace Tony Todd. You had me crying in the queue to the Haunted Mansion when I was in LA on my own. Absolute legend, one of the best movies of all time, Candyman. Watch that if you haven't. What the actual... Anyway, as always, thank you for taking your time to watch this. I really appreciate it. It's very kind of you to take the time out of your day to watch this, even if you didn't really give a shit about horror movies. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, subscribe. I would love to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. That's a goal of mine. If you haven't already, follow me on Twitch. That's free to do as well. You don't have to subscribe, but it's appreciated and you won't get any ads. That's also fun. I'll do my best to get more content out on YouTube as soon as I can. Once again, thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next one.